Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the live webinar portion of our Career Technical Education Night. My name is Chuck Sandoval, and I am the Director of CTE for the district. We wish tonight's event was held in person, but given the current circumstances, we are very happy that you're joining us from the comfort of your home, learning about the variety of CTE opportunities throughout the district. I hope each of you were able to preview the pathway videos on the CTE Night website. Don't worry if you didn't get a chance to view them all, please. Those will still be remaining on the website to view at a later date. We'd like to thank all of our CTE teachers for their participation in the development of those videos and the instruction they provide daily to help students learn about their future. Before we begin, I would like to thank all of our panelists who are joining us and will be assisting with some of your questions. At this time, I would like to ask those individuals to introduce themselves. So we'll start with Ms. Karen Boone.
I'm Karen Boone, and I'm a learning director for CTE at the district office. I've spent the past 6 years supervising CTE at Clovis West High School.
Kim?
Hi, good evening. My name is Kim Hamilton. I am one of the counselors here at Clovis East High School, and I am the CTE counselor overseeing the ag pathways.
Jeff?
Good evening. My name is Jeff Hodges, and I am the head counselor at Buchanan High School and been involved with CTE for many years.
Gregory?
Great evening. My name is Gregory Lomack, and I'm a CTE learning director at the district office.
Mr. Prieto?
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me, Chuck. I am the CTE department chair over at Clovis West High School. I'm the teacher of small business management and been here a long time as well. Thanks a lot.
Mr. Eichmann?
Hi there, Jay Eichmann over at Clovis High School, working with the Construction Careers Pathway and Electrical Systems. Thanks for having us.
Damian?
I'm Damien Cruz, and I was a student who is now working for the CTE program at Clovis West High School.
Nathan?
My name is Nathan Allen. I graduated from Clovis North in 2019. I was part of the software and systems development pathway.
And Ms. Gomez?
Hi, good evening, everybody. My name is Yolanda Gomez. I am the administrative assistant for CTE program. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Yolanda. Tonight, we will be addressing questions that have come in from the questionnaire previously sent out and frequently questions asked by families. If you have any questions during the session, please put them in the question box and we will do our best to address those at the end. After the event, all questions and answers during the event will be placed on the CTE Night webpage. If you have any questions after the event, please feel free to call our office or your child's counselor. With registration for the 21-22 school year right around the corner, believe it or not, it's a great time to start thinking about how you can incorporate CTE into your schedule. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start with some of our frequently asked questions. And we'll start with Ms. Boone. We're going to ask you, what exactly is career technical education?
Thank you, Chuck. Career technical education is a multi-year sequence of courses that integrates core academic knowledge with technical and occupational knowledge to provide students with a pathway to post-secondary education and careers. CTE courses create relevance for students through industry experience.
Thank you. Our next question up is do all CUSD high schools offer CTE courses? And the answer to that, I'll go ahead and take that one on. Yes, we do have courses at all 5 comprehensive sites that you were able to view on some of those videos tonight, and hoping that you can go back if you didn't have the opportunity and view those again. The next question up is we have, what grade does a student have to plan and to participate in CTE? We're going to ask Ms. Hamilton.
So generally our CTE courses are for 11th and 12th grade students. However, there are a few pathways on a few of our campuses that do offer classes to both 9th and 10th graders. If you are in 9th and 10th grade, please make sure you talk to your counselor about what your options are and what school sites these courses might be found at. But for 11th and 12th graders, all campuses have classes available for you in the CTE Pathway program.
Thank you, Ms. Hamilton. We're going to keep the flow going with you. We're going to ask you one more question. How does taking a 2-period CTE class affect a student's schedule?
So these 2-period classes, you might hear them called ROP classes, and what ROP stands for is Regional Occupational Program. It's a way for classroom instruction to be combined with hands-on career learning experiences through a community classroom. So it's just a fancy title that we tie in with CTE. ROP classes take up 2 periods in a student's schedule, and due to this fact, one of the perks of being in an ROP class is that it does waive the CUSD PE requirement for that school year as long as the student remains in a ROP class. The other benefit is that students, even on block days, will still visit their ROP class each and every day.
Thank you, Kim. Mr. Hodges, can I take AP classes if I am enrolled in CTE?
The answer to that is absolutely. Many of our students are taking AP classes at the same time as CTE. And again, depending on what grade level you are, those fit in perfectly into your schedule, either 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th.
Perfect, thank you. And we're going to ask you one more question here. Can you please talk to us about the difference between CTE and CART? Oops, I think you're...
Apologize, I didn't even realize I did that. So CTE courses are found at all the comprehensive high schools, where CART is a separate school on itself. CART is also an application process, and it has a lottery system, and it is limited to 14 different labs that take up 3 hours of your day. CTE classes, again, can range either be a single period or the double period ROP. And again, lots of hands-on activities involved with that in the CTE classes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Eichmann, what makes a CTE class different from a non-CTE class?
Yeah, this is a good question. So why should I invest my time in CTE? What's the difference? So here's one of the great analogies I like to use. If you think of a traditional core academic class, typically the teacher will lecture, there's a PowerPoint, there's a lesson that's taught, and then sometime in the future you take a test on that material. That's your typical type of academic class. What I love about CTE is that we flip that. In many cases in CTE, we will give you the test or the challenge first. We'll actually challenge you to do something. And in the process of doing that, you learn the lesson. So we flip the entire paradigm around. Now, one of the things that's also great about students is it gives you that chance to learn by doing something, which for most everyone is the most effective way to begin mastering a particular subject. You know, I like to say you get to discover your talents, you get to pursue your passion, and you get to chart a course for your professional life after high school. So it can really help you develop a vision for who you want to be as you move into adulthood.
Thank you, Mr. Eichmann. And that screenshot you have behind you, that's actually behind your classroom, correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's our construction lab here at Clovis High. And I'm proud to say, thanks to the community and to Clovis Unified, that we have one of the finest construction training facilities in the Western US.
Thank you. Mr. Hodges, I'm going to keep picking on you here if you don't mind. So somebody asked, I found a pathway I would like to join. What's my next step?
We want to make sure that that student reaches out to their counselor, because their counselor has all those expert ideas and how to fit that into your schedule, make that work in any way possible. So please reach out to your counselor so that you can find out how you can slip into that pathway anytime during the course of 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th. Please do not think that, oh, it's too late for me to do that. So please reach out.
Thank you. Dr. Lomack, can a student take a CTE class at another school site?
Chuck, that's a great question, and the answer is yes. Clovis Unified School District students can take classes anywhere throughout the Clovis Unified School District. So if a student is at Clovis East, they can take a class at Clovis North and vice versa.
Perfect, thank you. We're gonna ask you another question here. Is transportation provided if a student wants to take a CTE class at another school site?
In most cases, transportation is not provided. So we'd ask you to certainly communicate with your counselors to make sure, depending on the class, that you can get to that class on time and back to your home school on time.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Hamilton, we're going to come back to you. How do I enroll in CTE?
Great question. So like Mr. Hodges said, you definitely want to work with your counselor. Your counselor is going to be your best friend during the registration process, helping you figure out how to get these classes into your schedule for the following school year. Basically, you're just going to let your teacher know or your counselor know what class you're interested in, and then you and your counselor will determine what school site is that class being held at. Is it at your home school? Is it at another school? Is transportation needed? As Dr. Mlomak just talked about. So definitely reach out to your counselor and work with them. Registration, as you mentioned, is right around the corner.
Perfect, thank you. Mr. Prieto, I'm gonna call on you over there. What is a community classroom?
Okay, well, myself and Mr. Eichmann here are the teachers. And so we want to get down to and tell you a little bit about how the kids learn. Community classroom is offered by many of our CTE classes. And what it is, it's an extension of the classroom through real life, hands-on experiences. And this is what we would call the community classroom. That is more, we offer internships. It could be looked at as apprenticeships, job shadowing opportunities. Those are the type of experiences inside the classroom that we consider called the community classroom. I'm going to give you some examples. So we have a CTE class called Careers in Education. Okay, this is teaching a student firsthand about how to be a teacher. Students learn everything they need to be about a teacher in the class through curriculum. So in that class, our teacher will send them out to a community classroom. And in this case, it's a real classroom. The students will have hands-on experience with students. They're going to get the opportunity to help teach and assist students. They're going to learn the student behaviors and how to actually get relationships with students as a teacher would. So I teach small business management at Clovis West High School. My community classrooms are to provide students the opportunities in small businesses to get the knowledge of how to become an entrepreneur and how to start a small business. We have the unique opportunity at Clovis West to have our own small business on campus, and is our screen printing shop. And in that screen printing shop, we teach kids how to make apparel for the school. And so we have different sporting events and stuff like that, and our students will assist in that. Now we can teach them everything in the class as curriculum. We can teach them how to do profitability, sales margins. We can do the different types of marketing. But now we want to teach them real life experiences. Where does that apply in the real world? So my community classroom is putting these kids in a real life situation. So much like our partners with CTE, one of my partners is Tilly's. It goes hand in hand with our apparel business. And I'm able to put students in there in Tilly's with an internship, and they're learning inventory management, POS systems. One of the most important things, customer service, how to communicate with the students. They don't get that by teaching and talking to their fellow classmates. They get that in the community classroom. So on top of learning hands-on in our classroom, the students are able to directly find out if that path is something for them in the future. Do I want to be a teacher? The community classroom is going to offer that to them. Maybe that's not for them. So it's like giving them an opportunity to find out if that's really what they want to do before they go out and do it. Okay, that is what CTE is all about. It is preparing these students. Okay, and community classroom is just another extension into these students' futures.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Prieto. Our next question is, some classes mention offering dual enrollment. What does that mean? I'll go ahead and answer that one. So the great thing about some of our classes are that it allows our students to receive college credit as a high school student while still receiving credit towards graduation. Some of the community colleges we offer dual enrollment through are Clovis Community College, Fresno City College, and Reedley College. So those are some other perks with career technical education. And our next question we have is, I'll direct this to Mr. Hodges. If I don't like the CTE class or pathway that I am in, can I switch classes or pathways?
Again, please work with your counselor in this. I always tell students, no one's going to take offense, and finding out what you like is just as important finding out what you don't like, because that's the way life is. We want to make sure that when you leave your high school that you are prepared for that next step. And why not investigate that while you are here? So can you bounce in and out of pathways? Yes, until you find that magical one. We want you to work with your counselor and find that special thing that's going to give you that passion that was mentioned before.
Perfect, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Hodges. And at this time, we're coming up on 6:35. We have a few other additional questions, and we have some questions that are coming in. So I just want to make sure that those who are watching this evening, we are going to do our best to answer all the questions that are coming in. What we want to just make sure that you each know is that after the event, not only will you be able to come back to the CTE Night webpage to view videos, find contact information, but all the questions that you heard and the answers, as well as those that are continuously coming in, we're going to post those onto the CTE Night webpage after the event. So with that being said, we save the best for last. No pressure to these young men, but we do appreciate these men that are going to be speaking with us and coming back with us this evening. We like to refer to our former students as ambassadors. For those of you students who are out there listening, who are interested in finding out more about career technical ed, we hope that Damien and Nathan are going to be able to give you just a small picture of what CTE has meant in their life. So I'm going to go ahead at this time. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Damien. So Damien, I'm going to ask you a question, but feel free, to answer other questions I might be thinking and how that's impacted you. But what are the benefits to students for choosing to participate in CTE?
Some of the benefits I believe that they would take is real hands-on work experience that Mr. Prieto was talking about, and just learning how small businesses operate, learning from them, and hopefully if they were to go into their own small business, that they could have the tools that is needed to succeed.
Perfect. Thank you, Damien. Nathan?
All right, so for CTE, you're in a group of like-minded individuals. Generally speaking, the people in those classes want to be there with you. Everybody's passionate about that field. So that makes it really good to bounce ideas off of each other, and then you end up learning more that way. There's also preparation for work outside of high school and that field outside of high school. Pretty much every class you take, the teachers say, like outside of CTE, the teachers will say, yeah, you'll use this at some point in your life, and then it stops there. They never really, go deeper than that. But as far as CTE goes, you learn those real world applications within the class. You're not just being told that something will be useful and then being left to figure it out on your own. You actually apply it in that class. And not only that, but you build meaningful connections with people from within that field. Like a lot of times you'll have guest speakers come in and you can talk to them, you can ask them questions, and then you just expand your network that way.
Thank you. Great job, Nathan. Great job, Damien. We appreciate it. At this time right now, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Ms. Boone, and she's going to go ahead and tell us the questions that have been coming in, and go ahead and direct those towards who you think, Karen.
Sure. I'm going to take the first question, which is, what programs does this provide for my children who are 10 and 13? And I want to let you know that while CTE classes start generally with the sophomore year and the majority being junior and senior years, it is never too early to start thinking about and researching the pathways that might interest you. And additionally, we are working on a CTE Summer Academy that we hope will happen this summer that will be for younger students, and we'll give them a taste of some of these programs you've heard about this evening. So let's ask Kim Hamilton to answer this question. Can I do any of these pathways as a sophomore?
Yes, I kind of touched on that. The educational pathway has an English class that is part of that pathway. Clovis East has several ag classes available to 9th and 10th graders for their ag pathways. And then there's also several other pathways at the other comprehensive sites that do offer those single period classes to our 9th and 10th graders, and then the 2-period classes to our juniors and seniors.
Great, thank you. I have another question about the difference between the education pathway and the child development pathway, as well as when can I start taking classes in the education or child development pathway? Mr. Hodges, could you answer that question?
Sure. So the education pathway is really trying to is designed to start preparing you to be a teacher. And we provide those opportunities for working elementary through high school. We are also looking for students to go into teaching single subject matter. And then the careers with children is working with the small child development class, the smaller students, the younger students, probably pre-K and K. So that would be the difference between the child development and then the careers in education class. And then for the education pathway, most of the first class is the English class, Exploration of Child Lit, during sophomore year. However, each school might offer the club that's offered through the education pathway, and they may start that as a freshman.
Thank you. Mr. Prieto, we've had a couple questions about how has CTE, what has it looked like during the pandemic and distance learning? Could you answer that question?
Yes, absolutely. Our district does a great job of supporting these students at the best possible ways they can. And such classes that offer the community classroom, as I was saying before, those were job shadowing opportunities for the students that they're no longer able to go out there. Obviously, our businesses are on shutdown. So just a little bit example such as mine is the district and Mr. Sandoval has come up with a solution to help in little things just like that. We are offering all the students through their Clever account a virtual job shadowing like an app or say a program that runs through the internet where they are offering so many different types of jobs to go look through. And on that site, they have all kind of different things where you can find, let's say you wanted to be a veterinarian. Through that site, you could first watch the veterinarian site. You can ask questions and find out. From there, you can find out what technical schools, colleges might offer you something in that from there. From there, they have links from that website that'll single-handedly get you as many different opportunities for you to be successful in this pandemic. Because as we all know, with these tough times, any kind of support is the best. And Clovis Unified is doing a great job of that by offering just little programs just like that we're offering to see.
Thank you. I'm going to answer the last question and then turn it back over to Mr. Sandoval. We've had a number of questions about, can you earn a certificate upon completing a CTE class? And yes, the answer is yes. Many of our programs have certificates that are recognized in the particular industry. For example, ASE certifications in the automotive industry, students are taking those and getting jobs at places like Lithia Ford Service and private automotive shops because of the certificates they earned in the automotive technology program. Other pathways have certificates like that as well. And so many times our students leave these programs and take those certificates and use them to get jobs right away, right out of high school. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Mr. Sandoval.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, we're closing in on our time with you all tonight. Before we get off the air here, once again, we would like to thank our panelist members for joining us. And we hope that you learned a little bit about career technical education this evening. And there's lots of things that I can go on and on about the benefits of CTE for your children as they're getting older. But one thing that I always like to talk about is that if you're interested in learning about your future, we have a spot for you. So once again, thanks for joining us. If you have further questions, please contact our office. But the best person that's going to be able to answer many of your questions also would be your specific CTE counselor at your high school or your counselor. So once again, thanks for joining us. Have a pleasant evening.